Hey guys, it's Dossa and Locuzzed, and we have something special for you today, as T and Sugar asked us to go through this remix we've done for their label High Tea Music from Mountain House. So here we are, sitting here in the studio and going through that in Bitwig actually.
Yeah, that's the interesting part about this track. It was actually the first track that we finished since switching to the new DAW Bitwig. And yeah, it was a really interesting approach since you can really easily transfer stems from one project to the others in Bitwig. We actually managed to merge two versions of this track into one. So we will show you in this video what happened there.
Exactly. So let's start off right away with these sidechain triggers right here. You probably know them from the other track walkthrough we have done so far. Check them out to learn about that. Then we have the drums, which are actually a lot of layers this time. Starting off with a kick we've done with Kick Sonic Academy Kick 2, the plugin sounding like this. So nothing too special right here. Then going on with some variations, as you probably also know it from our previous videos. A couple of snare layers down here.
Yeah, I think a cool thing to mention about the snare is that all of the layers in this track are synthesized. I don't think we used any acoustic drum hits for this one. I think all of them are pretty much Serum and Kick 2, I think.
Exactly, like there is some samples down there, but we muted this in the final version, so we can actually state that. So this was actually rendered, but still made in a synthesizer. And yeah, just layered some brilliance on there, like some high Andy stuff. Let's go on though with, where are we? Snare. Some snare additions right here, like a reverb clap and yeah, other stuff which just happens in between. A rim or woodblock stuffy right here. Then yeah, some hi-hats, as you can see, actually loads of them. So yeah, we figured out a really cool groove for this track, and it took a lot of time and effort. So you can see like most of the layers are playing different patterns. And combined, they just yeah, equal that sound. Then we layered some breaks actually, which we've built partially in Superior Drummer and yeah, from previous projects partially. So
yeah, I mean, again, about these hi-hats and Foley layers, they're not always 100% consciously placed like there, but sometimes it just grooves, and then you think, okay, we could need something with a faster shaking thing, and then you just take it from your existing samples or even from a different project and put it in there.
Yeah,
and yeah, then you just EQ it so it fits into the context that you have.
Exactly. So yeah, actually it sounds way less complex than it is built. But I guess that's the magic. Let's go on though. Here we used to have some splashy stuff going on in our drum loops just to fill up, like make it sound a little bit more glued together, the elements like the hi-hats and the main hits. And for the build up, there is a little bit more to mention, which is one drum loop, one clap, and a snare roll. This is like the...
Yeah, that's the magic of a build-up nowadays. Yeah, and also you gotta see, as you see in the file names, like this riser, for example, snare roll, all this stuff are things that we prepared in different sound design sessions. And that's the cool thing. Whenever we need a build-up, we can just go to our library and use the existing snare roll or this clap build or the Holy Sister break. I think you did the Holy Sister break in Superior Drummer once.
Exactly, yeah.
And yeah, so it's really easy and fast, and you're not stuck with working on a build-up section when you actually want to write music, right?
Also still going for these Vanguard samples, right?
They always work.
Essential. Yeah, and so much for the drums, I would say. I mean, yeah, obviously there's some crashes and fills to the drop, but that's it then. And I guess the best idea would be Rene is taking over.
Yes. So we're now gonna go for the most important sections, FX and Rise.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also like to do it in groups as well, because as you can see, it gets really messy if all the folders are opened. Yeah, again on the risers, it's pretty simple actually. So stuff like, yeah, again all these risers here. Again, we did them in separate sessions and saved them for later use. I think the most important riser is this one right here, which is actually a sample from the original track. We bounced it unfortunately, but this was actually the guitar loop of the track. And what we did is we put it in the sampler of Bitwig, made a granular sound of it, so it just repeats a very short section of the sound, and then we pitched it up with an envelope, and now it sounds like a riser, even though it's actually a guitar. Can barely notice it here, but it's subtle in the background and gives it a lot of value in there. Yeah, that was it from the effects. And then we have this sidechain group right here, which is pretty much always the main sections of the track, right?
Like just everything which needs to get ducked by the kick and the snare, basically. So basses and the mid ranges, at least in the mono parts of the track.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in drum and bass, like kick and snare are so important in the track that everything needs to get ducked down whenever kick and snare hits, especially since it's so fast. What we did here is we got some bass layers. This one is actually Bitwig's polysynth, which is built in Bitwig. Really cool synth as well. Then here a sub bass. I think it's wow. Make the mobile louder. Yeah, it's in Faceplant. It's a really cool patch we built. It's actually the noise in there is ring modulated by another sine wave, and that's how you get this nice noisy top layer on there. So it's really cool. Then we have just really subtle in the background, some harmonics again in this layer. Yeah, we wondered about what it actually does when we opened the project, but that sometimes happens, you know. I mean, this is version 18 of the track, and yeah, it just fit in there. It's probably doing something important.
Like most of the time, our projects just grow successively as like there is two minds involved, obviously.
Yeah,
and we both throw our stuff in here. So yeah. Also, probably you noted that little click sound on the side chain. We're aware of that, and we're aware that this is some kind of a mistake that it clicks when it ducks. But sometimes you just need like a zero millisecond stacking to make really fast transients come through, and yeah, it works in the context.
Yeah.
So we just didn't give a shit about it in this case.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's like things like that. You can only care about it since we're like in the digital era. Like back in funk days, nobody could care about anything like that. If the compressor made a click, then so it be, right?
Yeah, true.
Maybe it even adds to the vibe.
All about the vibe.
Yeah. And as you can see here, there's no MIDI data in there, but it still plays something. That's a cool trick in Bitwig. You can have a note receiver there, and it will play the same thing as the
whatever you
route it into. So yeah, you don't have to adjust the notes on like 10 different instruments when you change the melody. It will change automatically.
I mean, we could have done that with all the tracks, obviously.
Yeah. I think we found out about it during making this track, probably.
Yeah, that could actually be.
So yeah, what's that? Yeah, it's just like making you more aware of the melody just before the drop.
These are actually also playing when the main part is playing. Note that there is a note receiver on there as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. True that.
On all of that. So. Then.
I think this one is only playing the build-up, right? Oh no, it's playing there as well. Interesting. Yeah, all of these just add to the fullness of the track. Oh, this one is intro bass, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much low effort on the bass, I'd say. Like what makes it special is just the layering and just like the combination of all these sounds. You get this fullness, this warmth which we wanted to achieve. Also, like some of these layers are more in the mono area, some are more in the stereo field, so you can just like adjust how much of what you want to have by leveling the different layers.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Where we are now. Yeah, exactly. That woo sound. You can hear is actually just a percussive step which we just reversed there, and just in combination with this lead we built then. It just complements it kind of cool and makes that lead, which is also just elements of a real melody, and these both layers together make the melody actually. So probably cool to mention. Down here, some pads.
Yeah, GTA pad. That's like so Benny. I mean, you gotta mention here, like you still play GTA 5. Do you still play it?
I still play it. Yeah, like, I mean, occasionally. Yeah.
And I think that like subconsciously it just makes you make these sounds because you hear them all day, right?
Yeah, true that. I mean, that there's a particular ARP when you open up GTA. Actually, I mean, as I say, I only played occasionally, like the wicked times are in past. But I had very excessive times actually, and always when you fly around.
Yeah, when you fly, right? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yes, and yeah, in that time I just wanted to learn how to build stuff like this, and I still love to do it. And you will probably hear that in many of our tracks. Yeah. Cool. What else? Percussive synth. This is coming in the second drop. You go for it.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I mentioned in the intro. Like, we had 2 or 3 different tracks for this remix. Like, they were completely different to each other, and we couldn't decide which one to go for. And then you came up with this version, and we still had the other track, which was this drop pretty much. Oh, where? The drums are gone.
Solo on the
there you go.
Sidechain group, yeah.
So that was probably the second idea we had, and so we just like copied this synth from the other project and had it playing in there, and that's how we could make the variation on the second drop. And what we did there is Mountain had a similar sound in the original track, but we couldn't play around with the melody very much because it would really distort when changing the notes. So just rebuilt the synth in Massive because it's a really basic sound, and oh, the S key is not working, right? Or maybe you have routed it differently.
Yeah, I got my custom shortcuts.
Yeah, that's it. Really helps to make the track more interesting to have a different second drop.
Definitely. Speaking of the mountain sounds, actually, we just put all of the stuff we used from the original track in this folder, and like most of the stuff, we just put a little bit of reverb and delay on there to make it like give it in the same dimension as the track sounds in terms of soundscape. The only thing we really changed was the vocal, where we just reversed stuff and pitched it up and down. I mean, you can see actually this one wasn't changed at all, but down here... sorry, gotta go for this one on solo. Yeah. So yeah, it actually sounds pretty shitty if you play back solo. But this, as you can see, we just sliced it up and just transposed the individual parts and reversed them and stuff, and put them through different routings of effects chains, so they kind of variate in the soundscape as well, and get a little bit more deeper from in terms of reverb, and sometimes they're in front of you without any reverb.
Yeah, I think it really helps to make the track more interesting that you have a vocal all the time in there, but just as you just explained, variations of it really gives the track a drive, because the sections repeat very much in this track, but it's not that obvious because the vocal changes all the time and just leads you through the track.
Cool. Go for it.
Yeah, okay. What do we have here? The lead sound. What's that?
What's that?
What's that? Pretty simple pluck sound in here, and what makes it really interesting is that it's evolving again. So there are like some macros in Serum that's just opening the filter a bit and increasing the decay of the sound and stuff. So that's just a way to make the melody more interesting. And then what you did here is like added some more MIDI to it, and this is actually just routing the MIDI to the same sound again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's that. Makes it easier to look at. Probably,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it was just because I just wanted to loop that part. As you can see, this is just one loop looped after each other, just because I'm lazy. And then I wanted to add these single notes, and I just put them in here in a separate MIDI. Also, it's, as you say, just for organizing it better. But these notes down here are actually pretty random. But also down here. Coming in somehow. But also, again, to make it a little bit more, as Rennie just said, interesting and very variable.
Yeah, like if you loop something very often, you gotta like add this slight variation that you don't notice that much, but it's still not exactly the same as what you just heard 1 second ago.
Word.
Yeah, so here, melodics. What's that? Let's see.
Basically the intro.
Yeah,
or the intro sounds.
Yeah. I mean, that one, it's called Stoned Love. If you remember the track from Auris, it's exactly that sound that makes the intro. It's a slight variation of it, though, right?
Kind of organ, yeah. It's just an additive synth, basically.
Yeah. And I always try to press S, but it's not working here. What's that? Funk step? Yeah, also classic Benny sound right here. So maybe you want to explain that one. How do you come up with that stuff?
Low effort, 7th chord, and you're pretty much done there.
Okay, simple as that.
And the phaser on top of it, of course.
Let's go for the phaser.
But without any effects, you can hear it's actually sounding pretty shitty and low effort. It's just again the context that make it work.
Yeah, and then the keyscape down there.
Yeah.
What's that preset actually? Let's check that out.
The preset is
one above. It's only the MIDI. Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, what makes this? We both know what makes the sound, but this is actually a clavichord, like some random preset from here.
We use keyscape a lot in our tracks.
Yeah.
It sounds so convincing, so realistic.
It was like that actually, and then we just put it through a Wolf compressor, which we actually really love, and it just gives it this phase and old school vibe, and EQing, a little bit of delaying. And I think this melody, I split it up on 2 layers again, like 2 MIDI layers actually. One is playing that top melody, the bam, 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 and the bottom one is just playing the harmonies to it. Yeah. And what else? And this ARP.
Also GTA again. There it is.
Yeah, it sounds so shitty when you play it back solo. This one is actually the Viper, like the Viper step, classic Viper step right here. You hear it in so many old Viper tunes from like 2010, like that Taskmaster, for instance, and stuff.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. Like, was really loads of fun to do this track, especially since it's the first one we finished in Bitwig, and I think it really helped our workflow there, because what we always had the problem in Cubase is if we had like a cool idea in an older version, you would always like stay back from changing it back again, because it was just so hard to make. But here we could just like throw in the drums from version 2 again and just roll with them, for example.
Exactly.
So, yeah, really helped a lot to progress with this track.
Yeah, so that being said, thanks for Tea and Sugar for pulling us into their project of this EP. So big ups everyone involved, and hope you liked our video right here. Other than that, see you soon. Big ups.